I have an addiction. I've been struggling with it for about probably 11 years. It's not something I'm proud of. I have an addiction to all right, so faded paint on the hood. Walk you right over here. Transmission slip. Right here we got busted paint, and right down here we've got old car that nobody wants to buy right now. I know I'm gonna get blown up in the comments about that. Missing front ends. So this is the kind of stuff that we're dealing right now as used car dealers going to these used car dealer auctions, is that the quality is going down and down and down and down, and the prices are still elevated. So across the whole market, quality is down because we're getting a lot less trade-ins from these new car dealers. And I mean, I really can't blame anyone right now for not trading in their car. Who would want to trade in their perfectly running used vehicle and get one of these new cars and pay $700 a month for a car payment? So that's just why the quality is not here. It's not showing up at used car dealer auctions. I know all the dealers that watch the videos I'm doing, they can give me an amen in the comments, because this is what we're having to deal with. Even the upper end of the used car buyers, I've got a buddy that sells $30,000-$40,000 on his lot. He's even talking about the quality that he's got to go through. If he's getting anything at these auctions, he's having to do something to them. It used to be years ago that these new car dealers, they would send everything that they get in trade-in straight to the auction, and that's not the case anymore. Because supply has been limited, it's been tougher to get vehicles. Anything that's really super nice, especially at that higher end level, these new car dealers are just keeping it. They're not sending it to auction. So that's pushing, like I said, my buddy who buys the higher end stuff, if he's finding anything at these auctions that he wants to buy to actually sell on his lot, he's having to put bumpers on it. He's having to repaint. He's getting stuff that he's got to fix, and he used to not have to do that. And that's just an element of the new car dealers keeping the good stuff, and they're only sending the trash to these auctions. Now, the tier of stuff that I buy, the cheaper stuff, we're still getting all of that stuff coming to auctions. But our problem is the customers that are trading this stuff in, they're not really trading stuff in to trade up to buy a new car anymore. They're more doing it out of desperation, because they have cars that are broke down, they have cars that have problems with them, because nobody right now would get rid of a good running car, because one, you can't replace it, and two, interest rates are high, monthly payments are high, and all these new vehicles are just absolutely crazy high. You've got market adjustments on top of that, so people aren't wanting to trade in their good cars to buy brand new cars. And we're seeing that at auctions right now. You're going to continue to see that across the market as these new car dealers aren't selling a whole lot of cars. And really, I can't blame these people for not buying new cars. Prices are too high, and we're just going to we're going to continuously have these quality problems. And just a word of caution to those prospective used car buyers out there: this stuff that we're seeing go through auction, this stuff that the quality's way down, it's going to make its way to used car dealer lots. That's why it's here. Used car dealers are going to buy it, and then they're going to get it up to whatever kind of inspection status they have to for their state, and then they're going to sell it to consumers. So I wanted you to be careful beforehand, but even more so now. Make sure there's more of it. Make sure you're getting stuff checked out by your mechanic before you buy it. I can't stress that enough. I say it a lot. I say it probably in a majority of my videos, but it's the most important advice that I can give you if you're looking to buy a used car. Get it checked out before you buy it. Know what you're buying before you buy it. There's more, because we're seeing this stuff pop up more and more, and it's just going to be a norm for a while. So just make sure you get stuff checked out. All right, so I'm not here today just for YouTube. I'm actually here to check out cars for myself, for my business too. And what I do is, when I go through these cars to check them for myself, is that I scan them. And I've been sent a lot of scanners to promote, and most of them are bigger scanners that you would use in a shop, or like on a bigger scale of a used car dealer like me. But I requested to Topdon that they send me something that's a little bit more accessible for for just the at-home mechanic, if you want to find out what's wrong with your car while your check engine light's on. And they sent me something smaller and better better to use for that. You don't need this massive scanner to be able to just read your OBD2, your check engine light codes, and that's what this scanner is good for. We got a link down in the description below, but the good thing about this scanner that I really like too is one, it's portable, so it's easy to carry, and two, it actually doubles as a battery tester. There is an attachment you put onto it and hook it right up to your battery, and you find out what's going on, if it's your alternator or if it's your battery. So go check it out if you need a scanner. It's actually a great one to have. So this will be an ongoing theme as we're watching the current used car market. Prices are going to stay elevated and quality is going to continue to get worse and worse and worse. So you know what, let's go look at some cars. I'm going to check out a few for you guys that are going to run through the lane. We'll get you some prices. We'll put prices at the end of the video, and hopefully I'll be able to buy some cars today too, but I doubt it. Prices have been really high, so let's get going. All right, lots of questions about Hondas and Toyotas. So this is a 2015 Pilot. It's got 117,000 miles. Go on to see what the inside looks like. Outside's not too bad. Inside's pretty dirty. So it should go for a little bit less, I would think, but who knows? It just depends on the buyers that are here. So this is a 2015 Honda Pilot, 117,000 miles. All right, here's a 2013 Cadillac ATS. This car looks cool. It's only got 84,000 miles. Let's see here. Inside looks actually great on it. So we'll check this out and see what it brings in the lane. Again, it's a 2013 Cadillac ATS. It's got 84,000 miles on it. All right, I've been asked a lot to show some older Dodge trucks, so here's one. It's a 2011. It's got 149,000 miles. It's a Hemi 5.7. 1500. I hate the way the inside of these trucks look. I know like Ford and Chevy have their own issues and too, but at least like they look good. These trucks don't look good. That's my opinion. You can blow me up in the comments, I don't care. It's a 2011 Ram 1500 5.7's got 149,000 miles on it. All right, so you guys have been following me long enough. I think it's time for me to come clean about something. I have an addiction, and I've been struggling with it for about probably 11 years. It's not something I'm proud of, but it's something I live with. It's I put my wife through it. I put my team through it. I'm not proud of it. I'm not happy. And I've tried to stop, but I can't. I have an addiction to buying Ford Tauruses. And I know what you're saying. They're bad cars. I hear about that from everyone, but I love them. They're great. I mean, sure, they always have a coil that's bad, but it's an easy fix. It's 4 bolts. And I mean, it's $26 on Amazon. And there've been many nights that the shop's closed. It's getting dark. My wife calls me, where are you, baby? Well, I got to work on this Ford Taurus. And she's like, but you just put a coil pack in it yesterday. I said, I know, but it already went out. And it's an easy fix. It's only $26 on Amazon. And yeah, I've been to meetings. Well, not about the Ford Taurus, but I've been to a meeting before. Just nothing seems to help. I can't stop buying them. They're cheap, they're easy to fix, and they're good cars. So I don't ever buy Volkswagens, so it's not a surprise that I haven't had any on my channel to show you guys prices. Oh my goodness, there's some quality concerns. But this is a 2019. I'm going to show you the name of this car, because I don't buy Volkswagens or ever look at them. Somebody tell me how to pronounce that. I don't know what that is. This is probably a pretty common car, but it's not something I ever look at. So I am unaware of how to say that name. This car actually looks great though. So it's a 2019, whatever that word is, with 132,000 miles. We'll check it, see what it does in the lane. All right, so we'll check this car for prices, but I want to show you something first. It's a 2010 CRV. It's got 164,000 miles. But someone traded this car in like this. All this trash in the back, and the franchise dealer that got it, they didn't clean it up before they bring it to auction. So it's just it's very curious to know a person that would trade in a car that looks like that, because obviously you're going to get more money for the car if it's a little bit cleaner. You're not going to get much more money, but I would hate to take my car and sell it to someone else when it looked like this. So this is more just speaking for the quality of it. And I know a lot of you are going to say, well, that's a repo, because people don't trade in cars that look like that. Because I've seen it on other videos where I've shown nasty cars, and no, this is not a repo. This is actually coming from a franchise store. I can see the actual dealer who is selling this, and these franchise stores are not repoing these cars. They're only sending their trade-ins to these auctions. So yes, someone absolutely traded this car in. But anyway, so 2010 CRV with 164,000 miles. A lot of you have been asking about CRV, so we're going to check this one out. But it's nasty, so it should bring a little bit less money than what it would have had it been cleaned. And here's another Pilot we can check out. It's a 2012. It's got 138,000 miles on it. And let's see what it looks like. Actually, this looks really nice. Ooh, I might check this out for myself. Yeah, I wouldn't mind driving a Pilot. They're not bad. Looks good. Very clean on the inside. It is a 2012 Honda Pilot, 138,000 miles. We'll check it out, see how much it brings. All right, here's a 2017 Nissan Titan. It's got 126,000 miles on it. Looks good on the outside. Inside's a little bit dirty, but it's not terrible. I've had a lot of you screaming at me in the comments to get a Titan. They're good trucks. I don't know, I've never had any experience with Titans. They look good, but it's a 2017 with 126,000 miles. All right, and here's your Canadian F-150 we've been watching for the last couple weeks, eh? 2 weeks ago, they tried to get a bid on it for 15 grand. Nobody even raised their hand. Last week they did get some bids, but it was only $14,000. So it's still here, so that means they no-sold it. But it's a 2017 F-150, 81,000 miles. I thought it looked fine. Just a Canadian truck. Oh, that's what we need to check on. We need to see if there's rust, see if it's bad. It's a little crusty. It's not terrible though. Yeah, so we'll see what all this is about this week, and see if it brings any money, and if it does, if they put it on a phone call, or if they sell it or they no sell it. All right, so check this out, just to bring back what I was talking about at the beginning of this video. So this is a 2020 Ford Explorer, and typically a new car dealer would keep something like this on their lot to sell it. But you can see hanging from the windshield right there is a number, and what those numbers, oh, there's a garbage truck. So what those numbers typically signify is that is the work order number, basically, for their repair shop. So that means there's something wrong with this car, and they figure out they didn't want to fix it, so now they're dumping it at auction. And it's a little bit rough on the inside. So this is the kind of stuff that if it was right, they used to send it to the auction and dump it. This is the kind of stuff that, like my buddy's talking about, where he buys, oh my goodness, the noise. He's buying the higher end stuff, but when he's getting this higher end stuff that shows up at auction, he's always got to do something to it, because if it's good, if it's right, they're not sending it to auction like they used to. They're keeping it and they're selling it for themselves. All right, we'll check this one. It's a 2015 Jeep Grand Cherokee. It's got 152,000 miles. Now, we just went and checked out some of the brand new ones, and they were trying to sell them for $60,000. I think there was even some with some higher end packages for 70 grand. And that wasn't including any market adjustments, any dealer fees, anything like that. That was just the sticker price that I saw at the Jeep dealership. So we'll check this one. It's a 2015. It's got 152,000 miles on it. All right, here's one for us to check out. It's a 2006 Hummer. It's a H3. It's got 140,000 miles. It's a little bit rough. It's going to need some tires. Inside's not terrible, but I'm very curious to see what Hummers are going for now. I know I've checked a few of them in the past and they've been crazy expensive, but this is a 2006 H3. It's got 140,000 miles on it. All right, everyone's been screaming for RAV4, so we found one. We typically don't see a lot of these at auction. People keep them. But this is a 2009. It's got 140,000 miles. The reason why this one's probably not kept at the dealership is because it's pretty dirty. Actually, I can feel moisture on the seat, so it's probably got a leak somewhere, probably around the windowsill, I'm sure. But this is a 2009 Toyota RAV4. It's got 140,000 miles. And nice, we got another RAV4. This is a 2011. It's got high mileage for 11, but it's got 192,000 miles. We're still going to check it, see how much it brings. Yeah, some gashing right there. That's why this one is here. It's not too dirty on the inside. It's got a few cosmetic things here and there. But this is a 2011 RAV4. It's got 192,000 miles. We'll check it, see how much it brings. All right, here's a Mazda 3 we can check. It's a 2012. It's got 114,000 miles on it. A little scratch on the side over there. Inside looks okay. It's a 2012 Mazda 3. It's got 114,000 miles. All right, done checking everything out. So auction's about to start. We're going to head in and see what we got. So I was actually able to buy some today, which surprises me greatly. But we've been surprised all week. I bought 3 Tuesday. Alex bought 5 yesterday, and then we're able to buy some today. So usually when tax checks are coming in, these cars are just at crazy money, and last week and the week before that they were crazy money. But I wonder if, because maybe tax time is a little bit slower for these other dealers this year, that they're not able to buy as many. So they've already got loaded up and they're not moving through their stuff. So maybe that's it. And we're still selling some cars. We're not as busy as we usually are during tax time. I hope we still have another bump coming, but the longer time goes by, it seems less likely. But I'll let you guys know if we get a bump and when it happens. But we're still selling through cars, and apparently now we're able to buy a few. So that's a good thing. And I'll let you guys know what I bought at the very end of the video, because I'm sure a lot of you don't even care. You want to see the higher end stuff. I buy cheap stuff. So all right, here we go. Price time. So the 2013 Cadillac ATS with 84,000 miles, it's sold in lane for $10,200. The 2012 Mazda 3 with 114,000 miles. This one was actually weird. When it was going through the auction lane, there was a guy that was bidding on it. He was a younger guy. I'd never seen him at this auction before. This is a smaller auction. I know pretty much all the dealers that go to this auction. But you could tell he was a new bidder by just the way he was bidding. Everybody has their own way of bidding, but this guy had his bidder badge, which is just a little card that we have with the numbers on it, and he just kind of kept raising his bidder badge every time he bid. Not to say that's wrong or anything, it just is not something typically that you'll see a bidder do. But he just looked like he was new. He looked like he wasn't really sure of what he was doing while he was doing that. I'm not trying to say anything negative about this guy, but he just didn't seem like he was around the auction scene for very long. And he bid up this car to $3,000, and the seller said, no, we can't sell it for that. We got to have $4,000 out of it. And he immediately just raised his bidder badge up like he was bidding again. And the auctioneer said, okay, $4,000 sold to you, and called his number out, meaning the car was sold to him for $4,000. Usually how that exchange would work is that the seller would say, no, I want $4,000, and then the bidder in lane would say, oh, well, I can't do that. I can do $3,500. Even if that bidder knew that they would want to give $4,000 for the car, there's usually a back and forth because most buyers know that the sellers are not giving their true numbers whenever they say, I need this for it, because the sellers also know there's always a back and forth when they say on the stand, hey, I need this for the car. The buyer always comes back and says, no, I need to be lower, and they usually come to some kind of agreement in the middle, or they put it on a phone call and get it done later. So it was just very odd. So I'm not sure that this $4,000 is a real good representation of how much that car should be. It probably should have been like $3,500, but like I said, this guy seemed like he was a little bit new, so hopefully he'll learn from someone else, knowing that you can actually negotiate a little bit in lane. All right, the 2017 Nissan Titan with 126,000 miles. It sold for $13,000. That price didn't seem crazy to me. I'm not sure. I haven't really been checking these Titan trucks, but I mean, it was a nice truck. It had decent miles. It was 2017 for 13 grand. That didn't seem terrible to me. 2010 CRV with 164,000 miles sold for $5,900. All right, the 2012 Pilot with 138,000 miles. It sold for $11,900. The 2011 Ram 1500, I think that was the one with the Hemi. It was lifted. Had 149,000 miles. It sold for $11,100. The 2015 Pilot with 117,000 miles. It sold for $12,000 in lane. And I thought that was interesting because just a little bit earlier I said that 2012 Pilot, that 138,000 miles, sold for $11,900, and one that's 3 years newer with less miles only sold for $100 more. I might have to go back and check and see if maybe one was leather and one was cloth, but even so, 3 years newer, less mileage, I wouldn't think they would be close at all, but you just got to get the right two people on a certain vehicle and they can run one up, and if people aren't paying attention, then one can go lower. So it just shows you a discrepancy of how these auctions can run and how wholesale prices can run, because it really depends on the auction, depends on who's there and who's actually paying attention and watching these vehicles, of what kind of ranges you can actually get on these cars, because they can be all over the place. The 2019 VW, whatever that SUV was that I don't really pay attention to, so I didn't know even how to say the name of it, with 132,000 miles, brought $9,000 in the lane, and they said no, we got to have $10,000 for it, and the bidder came back and said, okay, I'll buy it for $9,500, and they sold it. This is an example of what didn't happen earlier on that Mazda, is that the seller wanted $10K, bidder wanted to pay $9,000, and they came together in lane real quick and got it done for $9,500. All right, the 2015 Jeep Grand Cherokee with 152,000 miles, it sold for $10,200. The 2020 Explorer that had the numbers hanging in the windshield showing that it was being repaired at the dealership for some reason, and then they decided that they just weren't going to repair it. They're going to send it to auction and dump it. It only had 76,000 miles. It went through and got a bid of $19,000, but they put it on a phone call. So I'm not sure if that one will get done or not yet. I haven't really checked the prices on those newer Explorers, so I'm not sure how close they should be on it. The 2006 H3, the Hummer, it had 140,000 miles. It only brought $4,300 in lane, but they sold it. So I thought that was interesting. That seemed like a good price to me. I don't like Hummers. I try not to buy them. I had one last year. It's just they seem like I have to sell them for too much money, so I never even look at them. But for what I could see, it seemed like that was a good deal on that Hummer. Maybe there was something wrong with it, but $4,300, 140,000 miles on an 06 H3, that seemed like a good deal to me. The 2009 RAV4 with 140,000 miles, it sold for $6,200. The 2011 RAV4 with 192,000 miles, it sold for $5,200. And now the 2017 F-150, the Canadian truck, had 81,000 miles. So We were wondering what was going on with this truck. So 2 weeks ago, they tried to even get a bid at $15,000. Nobody would even raise their hand. The seller said, okay, if anybody wants it, we got to have $22,500 for it. So last week, it got some bids, but it only went up to $14,000. And the seller, I think they put it on a phone call, but obviously it didn't get done. This week they had actually a new announcement on it. So it's Canadian, 1, and 2, it's actually branded Lemon. So it's got a brand of that the car was bad coming from the manufacturer. So this is another reason why these guys don't want to touch it. So probably a lot of them pulled up the Carfax, and that's why I didn't get any bids. But it got bids up to $13,000 this week. So $15,000 2 weeks ago, $14,000 last week, and it went up to $13,000. So it's going down by $1,000 every week. But the seller said, no, we're not even in the same universe. They said, all right, this week, if anybody wants it, we'll take $20,000 for it. So the seller's coming down, but the bad part about it is the story's getting worse on it, and the actual bidding is going less. So that might be a truck that either they have to figure out something else to do with, or they're just going to have to cut the price and just sell it to somebody that wants to take the risk on it. Okay, so out of all of those that I just mentioned, we had 1 if and 1 no sell, and the rest were sales. And I actually thought that some of them, the prices seemed okay this week, which is interesting because last week everything seemed crazy high. There's still high prices in here. Don't get me wrong. Prices are still too high, but they're definitely lower than they were 2 weeks ago. They're lower than they were last week. So it's a good sign to see some of this wholesale pricing coming down a little bit, and it's a good thing to see that these new car dealers, they're actually selling the stuff. They're not just holding on to it, hoping that it brings more money later on. So we need the new car stores, we need them to be dumping inventory, and we need the bidders, the actual action that's going through these lanes, the money that they're bringing to come down a little bit too. So we don't want dealers holding on to stuff, and we don't want buyers trying to just run up everything like crazy. I mean, that's just another example of what I'm seeing, and what I think is a good sign is that I was able to buy 4 cars, and I didn't think the prices were crazy. They're still higher than I wanted to pay, and higher than they have been traditionally in the last couple of years. But I bought an 06 Fusion with I bought an 06 Fusion for $1,600. I bought a 06 Focus for $1,400, a 2006 Altima for $1,000, and a 06 Camry for $1,800. And all of these, they have right around 200,000 miles. And the 06 Fusion, we'll sell it probably for $2,500. The 06 Focus, another $2,500 car for us. The 06 Altima, we only paid $1,000 for it, but we can typically get $2,500 out of those cars, so we'll probably sell it for $2,500 also. And the 06 Camry, we paid a little bit more for. We paid $1,800 for it. It'll probably be probably a $3,000, $3,500 car, just because Camrys, we know they're good and they sell a little bit better than the other cars.
And they're good cars.